because I don't know.
There we go. All right. So you folks stand by.
Don't you know each cloud contains pennies from heaven?
So let's find out.
In
How
three,
valuable is it?
2, 1, you're live.
Hello, 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 Santa Barbara. It's your chantress of everything valuable and beautiful, Elizabeth Stewart. And to celebrate the fact that single tickets for CAMA are going on sale today, September 13th, through the Libero Theater and Granada Theater box office, we have with us Justin Rizzo Weaver. He is actually the, I guess, what are you, managing director?
Director of Operations.
Director of Operations for CAMA. And I want to talk a little bit about CAMA because the season is incredible. And likewise, the people that are coming to Santa Barbara are incredible and not to be missed. And the press release about this wisely says, experience the global reach. So this is the international series is the title of the series that will open. And it features the London Symphony Orchestra. And the great thing is that they're co-presenting, and what an experience, Justin. The Music Academy of the West will be playing with the London Symphony Orchestra.
Well, the concert that we're presenting is a co-presentation, a full co-presentation of the Music Academy of the West and CAMA. And we partnered before with the London Symphony Orchestra concert. So this is our second time around as co-presenters of the London Symphony, which is widely regarded as perhaps the world's greatest orchestra. Of course, that's always subject to opinion, but it's regularly in aficionados' top 5. And its distinctive, large sound, amazing brass section, woodwind section is unique. It has a local flavor still, which is not as common in orchestras these days. And the program is incredible. That's definitely not to be missed.
And so can you just tell us like 2 features of the program?
Sure. Well, for one, I think focusing on the talent, they have a new music director, Sir Antonio Papano, who was born in Britain, but I believe he first emigrated to the United States and then Canada and then back to England again. So he has kind of an accent of indeterminate origin. And he's known as an opera conductor. He was until he assumed this position with the LSO. He was the music director of the Opera House at Covent Garden, the Royal Opera House. So that's a significant appointment. I believe this is his first time touring with the LSO, and certainly his first time in Santa Barbara with them. So that's not to be missed. And as for the music itself, that program is going to conclude with Mahler's First Symphony, which is a titanic work of immense symphonic significance, and hearing it by an orchestra that's capable of projecting and functioning as one and not missing notes and truly knowing the music under great directorship like Sir Antonio's. You would normally have to travel quite some distance to hear something like that. So we're bringing it to your front door.
And I have to say, Richard Dugan is our producer, and Richard's listening as well. And I got a Mahler story. So Maestro Dudamel was passing through Santa Barbara, and for some reason the station allowed me to interview him, and it was in the studio at the time. And Mahler was on the program, and it was before he was going to perform. And Richard said, Maestro, I've always wanted to know why you don't change the key. You remember, Richard?
I do remember. Now, be careful how you tell that story, because what you're about to tell them is certainly accurate. But then I found out from another maestro that it is possible. But I understood why. I understood why Dudamel didn't.
Yeah, so it's possible. And I think the other maestro, I think but it was so interesting because Maestro handled it beautifully. His comment really reverberated with me because, of what I do for a living. But he said, if I'm Picasso and I have done a painting and I use orange, I don't change it to yellow. And we automatically got it. Richard and I were like, okay, that light bulb
Hmm.
went off.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was, and Richard's favorite piece is the Mahler. So
Mahler's, what was it, fifth, that the violinists refer to as not Mahler's fifth, but the Hurt Locker.
the Hurt
Oh,
Locker.
all the symphonies are fantastic. We could spend an entire episode just talking about Mahler, but I'll just tag on one little comment, which is that's a very ironic thing that Maestro Dudamel said, because Mahler himself was a conductor in his own right of great renown during his time, probably better known as a conductor than as a composer until after his death. Mahler was notorious for reorchestrating other composers' works to try to improve them or make them easier for the players to navigate. You
Hey, Richard, you
reorchestrated,
were right.
I believe,
I
reorchestrated
don't,
four Schumann symphonies with marginal notes.
yeah.
And he even went so far as to change works by Richard Strauss while Strauss was still living. He would say, "Oh, Strauss was a young man when he wrote this. You should not play that on the flat clarinet. Play it on the plain clarinet." You know,
Yeah,
so
I want to hear Mozart's Requiem in E flat major. I have no idea what that means. It just came to me.
So going on as far as the luminaries that are coming, the CAMA is going to bring to us. This is the 106th concert season. Can you believe it? 106.
yes,
And the theme for this year is musical bridges connecting continents, cultures, and generations. So needed right now with the
yes,
world so divided.
yes.
We go on
Let's
to
drill
say the
down a
Los
little
Angeles.
bit.
Say again, Justin.
Let's drill down a little bit to find the multiple meanings of that phrase of how. I mean, sometimes you have to look a little bit beyond where an orchestra is from to see how it's connecting continents and cultures. Um, because, for example, the international series is heavy on orchestras from Britain and the United States, but of course they're led by people from other places with soloists from other places in Europe and elsewhere. And also, of particular note is that we are bringing Chineke Orchestra, whom we tried to bring before the pandemic, and their concert was canceled by the pandemic. So this was long overdue. Um, Chineke Orchestra is, I think it's the world's first Black and ethnically diverse orchestra, um, founded by a powerhouse of a person named Chichi Nwanaku, who lives in Britain. And the orchestra's work has been endorsed by the likes of Sir Simon Rattle and others. Um, they're spectacular. And they also program repertoire by Black and ethnically diverse composers as well, all of which is uh, the sad thing is that this repertoire takes this level of effort to bring to the public, because it's all fantastic repertoire that stands aside the great masterworks um, easily on its own, right? So uh, we are proud and privileged to be part of this movement to uplift these voices that have not been heard in the past and are thankfully being heard more now. And there's definitely been change, but there's more change to do. We want to be part of the solution.
I think that's beautiful, beautiful. So this is the Santa Barbara debut of Chineke, and you can take a look at them on, like, if you YouTube or any some of the sessions that they've recorded, and it's really moving. Um, and so I'm super happy they're coming. Also, Los Angeles Philharmonic conductor laureate Esa-Pekka Salonen is coming. He's been to Santa Barbara before, right?
This is his 16th visit to Santa Barbara
What I
at the
thought.
helm of one or another of his orchestras. Of course, during the LA Phil has played in Santa Barbara over 300 times. We have a relationship with the LA Phil that extends back to the earliest days of both our organizations. This is LA Phil's 106th concert season and CAMA's 106th concert season.
You're
You know,
kidding. That's amazing.
and with maybe two or three exceptions, LA Phil's been part of every season since the beginning. And for some years in the middle period of our organization's existence, they were coming up maybe 4 to 6 times a year. And that's how you get up to 300 performances over the years. Solonen was their music director from 92 to 2009, 1992 to 2009. And so, he knows us. He knows Santa Barbara. He's been up with the orchestra for the runouts that they do every year for CAMA. And then he's returned with the Philharmonia Orchestra, which was his most recent gig before he moved to San Francisco. Now he's leaving San Francisco. We don't know where he'll go next. But this is wonderful homecoming in a way for him that we'll see him here again in Santa Barbara with the LA Phil.
And the Philharmonia Baroque Orchestra also is coming with Avi Avital and Esteli Gomez. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's a fantastic and fascinating concert. The concert is titled Venetian Splendor, and it focuses on two things. Last year was the 300th anniversary of the composition of the Four Seasons by Vivaldi, which is probably the most famous piece of classical music, hands down. And you have to take that in, that piece was composed 301 years ago. And it's well we're celebrating that it's still in circulation and still popular now. I mean, can you think of anything else that has that sort of longevity outside of perhaps a Grecian urn? So that's amazing in and of itself. So we'll celebrate that performance, and then of course Avi Avital is a mandolinist, and those are all violin concertos. The Four Seasons are. So he'll be performing the violin parts on mandolin, which is an easy transcription because the mandolin has the same tuning and layout as a violin does. It's just played with your hands in a different way. So those will probably be Avital's own arrangements for mandolin of those works that are originally for violin and chamber orchestra by Vivaldi. And then Esteli Gomez, who's a two-time Grammy Award winner. What's that?
I said that is so interesting. I had no idea the mandolin had the same tuning and structure as the violin. My grandfather, who emigrated in his 20s from Germany, but he brought his mandolin with him, and he was an avid mandolin player. And I remember, wow, okay, that brings me back. And you're saying Esteli Gomez. Tell me more.
Yeah, Esteli Gomez is a two-time Grammy Award-winning soprano with the ensemble Roomful of Teeth, of which she's a member. So this is our first time presenting her. She's joining Avi Avital for this concert, and she's going to sing various songs from the grand days of the gondoliers in this Venice-centered program. And so between hearing Avi Avital play the Four Seasons on mandolin and hearing her sing these songs individually would be wonderful, but we get both in one concert. These are the kind of concerts I think the public can overlook if they just say, Philharmonia Baroque Orchestra, I'm not sure if I want to be there. You want to be there. CAMA doesn't fire blanks. We try to present only the best of the best, whether you've heard of them or not. And I promise you that all you need to do is just show up and listen from end to end, and it will change your life.
So let's see, let's going on with the season Los Angeles Chamber Orchestra with new music director Jaime Martin. And tell me about that program.
Yeah, Jaime Martin is from Spain, I believe, speaking of Spain, as you were telling me about earlier. The Los Angeles Chamber Orchestra, I believe this is maybe their fourth or fifth concert for CAMA. They've appeared 4 times previously, so this is their 5th concert for CAMA. And they go way back. I believe the Los Angeles Chamber Orchestra was founded by Sir Neville Marriner, who also founded the Academy of St. Martin in the Fields. And originally it was an orchestra for people who were outstanding musicians in the film industry, who played with studio orchestras, to do something else on the side that was more focused on, mainstay classical repertoire. And over the years, it's evolved into being a top-notch ensemble in its own right. One of Los Angeles's great musical happenings, for sure.
Richard's giving us the sign, Justin, we got to go to a quick break, but a quote from a press release about the International Master Series. And like I said, I'm so fortunate that Justin's on the program today, because today, September 13th, is the day that single concert tickets will go on sale. And if you're listening and you're interested in it and the programs here, check out the Libero Theater and the Granada Theater box offices. And then you go in person, by phone, online. And, the tagline on one of the press release Join CAMA for a season where music builds bridges forged with the power of sound. This is music that unites continents, celebrates diverse cultures, and inspires generation. And we're going to continue to talk a little bit with Justin. I want to just know a little bit more about the beginning days of CAMA, because I've just found out that CAMA's going to turn 106 this season, along with Los Angeles Symphony Orchestra, which is amazing to think about that we started at the same time. So
Los Angeles, yeah.
that's amazing. So, Richard, let's go to a quick break, and then we're going to come back with Justin Rizzo Weaver, talking a little bit more about CAMA's beginnings. I'm really interested in that, and why CAMA stayed around so long. That's another thing I'd like to hear from Justin. Don't turn that down. Back in a minute.
All right, you are clear.
Mhm. You're going to get comments about playing George Crumb for sure.
As we should. Let them grumble.
I believe the name of the pieces in which that poem appears that I was quoting is called madrigals. And there's several books of them.
So, Justin, I mean, just off the record, you're obviously a musician. What do you play?
Well, at the moment, I only half jokingly say that I'm retired. I do have a music degree. I used to compose music regularly and play piano and sing. I'm not sure if I could do any of those by request anymore than in my living room. Um, the focus of my life has changed towards what I do professionally and then raising kids. But it does help to have that background to see the musicians as human beings and be able to relate to them in a way that might not be possible without some of that background.
Yeah.
Um,
So your degrees in conducting or composing, you said?
I have a degree in composition. Yeah.
Composition.
Hmm.
So I grew up in my mother's house. My mother is a concert pianist, and she was the accompanist for the Lyric in Chicago. And so all my life I was surrounded by people that were performing at the Lyric, or my mom's students. Um, and my mom was the first. Now she's born in 1929. She was the first female conducting graduate at Juilliard.
Wow.
So yeah, so she went on to do in her early years, when I was just a little girl, she conducted female barbershop choirs all over
Okay.
the world. It was
We
really interesting. She
we are
loved four-part harmony.
we are coming back.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, you're live.
Welcome back. It's Elizabeth Stewart. I have the pleasure of speaking with Justin Rizzo Weaver with CAMA, and he is telling me that CAMA is 106 this season, and this season is entitled, let's see, I got it right here, entitled International Series, Master Series, Musical Bridges Connecting Continents, Cultures, and Generations, the 106 concert season. How did it start, Justin, 106 years ago here in Santa Barbara?
Well, that is a complicated question, but I'll try to boil it down. That after World War One, there was widespread movements in the United States to revitalize the arts and communities. People viewed the arts, had the mindset that investing in the arts would be a way to rebuild morale as well as infrastructure in communities, community spirit. Um, and Santa Barbara was part of that movement, and as it turned out, a significant part of that movement. An organization called the Civic Music Committee formed, and as well as an organization called the Community Arts Association. And those two organizations are pretty much CAMA, CAMA being the last surviving branch of their activities. But in the 1920s, the activities of the the activities of the Community Arts Association in the 1920s extended to far more than just music. It included drama. That organization was responsible for rebuilding the Libero Theater. They were indirectly responsible for the existence of Old Spanish Days, which happened to celebrate the reopening of the Libero Theater. They had a plans and planting division, which did basically civic planning projects. And they had a school of the arts, if you can believe it or not. So the 1920s was a happening time, and this was funded toward the end of the 20s by money from the Carnegie Corporation, if you can believe it, resulting in almost an overabundance of funding, and the organization grew to a size that we can't even imagine by today's standards and what they were up to. And of course, it all kind of collapsed during the Depression. But CAMA is a surviving piece of that organization, and we survived the Depression, World War II, floods, fires, pandemic, and whatnot, through large part the interest and faith of funders, patrons who believe in the arts and want to see great orchestras and performers come to Santa Barbara year after year. And of course, our audiences who are very steadfast. The fans of classical music like classical music. You don't have to twist their arms to get them to attend. That audience has changed over the years, but it still exists. So.
It's fascinating because just something happened in my life where the Libero has a room underneath in the sort of the basement that really people don't go into much, and there's a storage area there. And they were interested to know if I could help identify an old, it's a coffin grand, it's a square piano that had lost its legs and was wedged up in between the Klieg lights and some of the, and we couldn't dig it out, but I could squirm back there and take a look. And I did the research on that piano, found out that the Community Arts Association, when the Libero reopened in the 20s, after the rebuild, after the earthquake, they performed a play called Beggars on Horseback. And it was about a concert pianist. And I kind of figured out that piano, through a number of different channels, but especially a historian of square grands helped me from the East Coast. We kind of found out that was probably the piano that was used on stage when that play opened the new season.
That's nothing short of amazing. You've brought to light a piece of our history that I didn't know. And
I'll send you.
I want to see that instrument. I have a soft spot for grand pianos, by the way.
Yes,
and
yes.
Funny that came up in conversation.
So it's really hard to see just because it's wedged in between the wall and the stanchions that hold the old Klieg lights, and it's really wedged. It's got no legs. It has no. Basically, you could see the keyboard, and I could see the strings and the harp and the air vent. So when I could see that, then those pianos were very distinctive. Each piano maker in 1880, 1890, they had their own way of doing the keyboard structure. Not that the keys are any different, but the roundness of the encasement is different. So I was aided in that. But the thing is that I want to just say that the Libero is a part of CAMA in a big way. And when Justin was telling us about the Community Arts Association and how it started, and the Libero was the center of it in the 1920s, I want to just say that the Libero is an intimate and an amazing place that where CAMA performs their master series. And this is a theater that actually has, well, first of all, it's California's first theater. But second of all, there's a feeling to it. There's an energy to it. There's a smell to it even that you find nowhere else. And I just want to say, Justin, I thank you very much for coming on and telling us about this series. But one of the things that I found out about this old coffin grand that had been sitting there probably since I would say about 100 years that was buried in that storeroom, because the storeroom goes back to Mr. Libero himself. So that was the first Libero. That storeroom is a vestige of the previous theater that was there. And we think now that, I got some musicians and people that play coffin grands regularly and perform on coffin grands. I interviewed a couple of those musicians, and one of them mentioned to me that everything that was heard on stage performed by CAMA, that old piano sang to it because of the resonant frequency of some of the strings. And I thought, oh wow, I got to tell Justin this.
That's true. I wonder what shape it's in. I wonder if you can even get a sound out of it. But the strings are there, you know.
Yeah, we did get a sound out of it. I mean, I had, I had my expert on the phone. We were trying really hard to see if we could get a sound, because basically the idea was, what does the libero do with it? And if it is part of the historic libero, maybe now that we know it was probably used for that play and many other things that the performing art at the community arts did, do we restore it? And it is restorable. I mean, but next time you're in Santa Barbara, give me a call, and I'll see if I can take you to meet
Yeah,
the old boy. And it's
we
really
can
hard to
do.
see, but we'll find it.
Maybe we could tag it on to a day when I'm at the Libero, because we talked about the international series at the Granada, and we also have a second concert series at the Libero, which is the Master Series. And CAM has been presenting at the Libero since the earliest days of the organization. So
Yeah,
since the Libero has been rebuilt and restored in 24. So um, the pedigree of presenting chamber music and recitalists at the Libero goes back a long way, and many great classical musicians have stepped on that stage and played a number of pianos, of which that might be one of them. It would be fascinating to see it.
I'll send you the research and the article that I did for the playbill on that piano. But Richard's saying we got to go to quick break. And Richard, I'm expecting some folks in the waiting room. Have they arrived? They are. Okay. So we need to say goodbye to Justin, and boy, we will see you at the performances. And like I said, I'm thrilled that Justin's on with us today, because today single tickets for 2024-25 CAMA concerts go on sale today through the Libero Theater and Granada Theater box office. So
And
grab them while you can.
folks can go to camasb.org and read all about all the concerts, and then there'll be links that are active from there to directly buy tickets that way, or people can show up in person at the box offices or use the telephone.
Excellent. Thank you, Justin. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for coming on. And what a cool, I celebrate the 106th season. That's amazing achievement.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's go to quick break. Richard, when we get back from the break, I'm going to introduce the producing unit in a play they're doing, which is a dear to my heart play, because it has to do with Alzheimer's, and it's produced in association with the Alzheimer's Association, California Central Coast chapter. It's a play called The Father. And of course, the father is suffering from Alzheimer's in this play, and it's an incredible work directed by Bill Egan, who's going to join us. Don't turn that down. Back in a minute.
All right, you are clear, and I'm going to let him in.
Thanks, Justin.
All right. Thank you very much. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello, Richard.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
So we have Bill and Tom with us. Is Tom? There he
Here,
is.
here I am.
Hi, Tom.
Hi.
Let's see if I'll introduce you first, I think. Both of you, I'll introduce you first, and I'd love to hear about the play. And Bill, while we're still on break, 3 years ago, I lost my father to Lewy body dementia and COVID.
I know. I saw the email that you sent.
And so I'm really excited to
Oh,
see
so
the
so
father.
sorry to hear that. I assume this will hit home. Great. Can't
Yeah,
wait to
I
have you.
want to
Just
see.
let us know. Just let us know when. Yep, and we'll get you the
Well,
tickets. Did
thank you.
Mo
Yeah,
talk to you about the tickets? About
yeah.
comping?
Mo said I should reach out and
Just,
and she
just
didn't know. Mo's a close friend of mine, and she didn't know anything about it because I really didn't. I mean, it was so sad that he left the planet, but at the same time, you know, people that well, I went through the disease from soup to nuts with him, and people that see that, uh, they almost think, oh, maybe it would be better if he wasn't here, even though we love him so much. It's a real challenge for everybody. I think caretakers and spouses and children, everybody. Well, you know that, Tom, because you perform it.
Yeah, and that theme is something that comes up in the play.
And my father, when he 5 days before he passed last year, he was diagnosed with early onset dementia, which I know is not Alzheimer's, but it's akin to it, I think. And I'm glad he didn't stick around because I know that would have just been, I think internally for him would have just been horrific. He would not have. He didn't want to be here anyway because he lost his daughter, his eldest daughter. Hey, Elizabeth, guess what? It's time to go back. In three,
Okay,
2, 1, you are live.
welcome back. It's Elizabeth Stewart and my friend Bill Egan, who is with us right now. I want to introduce, but before I do, I want to talk a little bit about the play. Um, this is a play called The Father by Florian Zeller. You might have seen the Academy Award winning film adaptation based on this play, also directed by Zeller. Um, we're we're celebrating 7 performances only at Center Stage Theater here in Santa Barbara. Why I wanted to cover this is because my father suffered from what they call Lewy body dementia. This play is going to be something that I'll probably cry about, but I want to go see. The Father is a gripping and emotionally intense play, delving into the complexities of dementia from the perspective of an elderly man named Andre. As the world becomes increasingly disoriented and fragmented, the audience is taken on a powerful journey through the mind of someone struggling with this devastating condition, masterfully portraying the confusion and heartbreak experienced by Andre and his daughter, and offering a poignant look at the impact of aging and memory loss. The play takes on these issues with profound honesty and charming humor peppered throughout. What's so interesting to me, Bill, is that the people in my life that I've known that have Alzheimer's, dementia, any of the memory issue maladies, it seems that the most intelligent people I know, and that life seems to take the brain. When people are not that bright, they get another disease. But my really brilliant family members and friends, they who suffer from this have in their, working adult life been fantastic thinkers. It seems a terrific irony. Anyway, I want to introduce the two gentlemen that are here today. First of all, Bill Egan's been on the show numerous times because he's always bringing something super interesting, and he's extremely professional. He's the director and producer of this show, and he has worked as actor, director, producer throughout the United States. And some of the theaters he's worked for: Boar's Head, Wharton Center for the Performing Arts, Spotlight, Riverwalk, Garvin, the Libero, Rubicon, Circle Bar B, and Center Stage Theater. He directed Odd Couple, Steel Magnolias, Most Massive Woman Wins, The Foreigner, It Had to Be You, Wally's Cafe, Private Wars, Post-it Notes on a Marriage, and Quilters. He's the co-founder of the producing unit and has appeared as an actor in God of Carnage, Time Stands Still, What Rhymes with America, and appearing twice as James Henry in, this is the show that I covered and I loved it, which was 154th in Paradise, most recently at Center Stage last year. That was fantastic, Bill, and thank you for the tickets to that. That was wonderful.
thank you. Good to
I
have you.
have with us a great actor, and I want to tell you a little bit about Tom. And Tom's taking on this incredible role as Andre in this play. This is Tom's fourth appearance with the producing unit. He's appeared in American Dream, Spoon River, and of course, 154th in Paradise, in which he was excellent. He was a member of the Genesis West Ensemble, who received the Independent Theater Award for Endgame and Title Indeed. He appeared in A Number, The Curse of the Starving Class, The Lieutenant of Innismore, The Pillowman, The Designated Mourner, La Terrasse, The God of Hell, The Goat, or Who is Sylvia, and Blue Heart. He's a veteran of Santa Barbara Community College Theater Group. He's appeared in Becky's New Car, Spirit of Avon, Fontainebleau, George and Emily Get Married, The Heiress, Other Desert Series, and many other credits to his name. And I noticed that one of my favorite performers from Santa Barbara, Matt Tavanini, is also in the play. I love Matt's work. Matt is a captivating presence on stage, has been forever. Love that. And you've got an amazing cast lined up. And I wanted, Bill, why don't you tell me a little bit about Tom's performance and how do you direct Tom? I mean, this is a challenging role. How do you direct him?
Well, we talked about whose perspective this needs to be from, because of the subject matter and because of the writing. It can be up to interpretation what really is reality, and that's part of the puzzle of this piece. So Tom and I talked months ago. We sat down when I offered him the role, and one of the things that he has very meticulously and thoughtfully carved out was his own perspective on the role and his own perspective of what Andre is thinking, and that's kind of where we started from. I direct from a place of I'll bring ideas, Tom, but it's very very collaborative, and Tom brings a lot to the table, so it was relatively very easy to direct him. So that's kind of where we started.
I want to just reflect on something that in reading about the play, and I read a couple of reviews as well. This play really, to me, and I want to hear both of what you think about this idea of reality. And, Bill was saying as he directs Tom in the role of the older gentleman that is suffering from Alzheimer's, the nature of reality comes into question. And I got to say, I know what you're talking about, Bill, because when my father was first diagnosed, he was having waking dreams that were pretty prescient. And actually, if we say, well, what is reality actually? Is it something that you're manufacturing, or is it something that's pretty obvious and right in front of you? Well, these waking dreams seem to be the real him. And it was very odd because I could hear the themes that I've known, that he went through all of his life come out in these waking dreams. And people would say, oh, we're so embarrassed, don't talk about it. But the thing is that what he was dreaming, when he was awake, was kind of dealing with some major themes in his own life that were totally his reality. So I can understand how it would be a real challenge to direct Tom in kind of guiding the fabric of his own reality. And I have to say, I find it interesting that the daughter is trying hard to help, and Tom's character refuses a lot of assistance from her. I get that too, Tom. I understand that. I've been there. I wonder, Tom, how I mean, you're such an accomplished actor. How do you prepare for such a role?
Really studying the text. I mean, this is such a well-written play that Zeller really gives the actor a lot of meat to put on the bones of the character. And, Andre has, he's sort of alternating. A lot of times, Andre is very confident in his view of reality. It's like the waking dreams. I hadn't heard that before, and it's a wonderful image for me. That is what's really going on in Andre's head, and at the same time, then at other times, Andre's not confident. He's frustrated. He's confused. both with Andre's own lack of memory, but also with the differing perceptions that other people, particularly his daughter, has. So it's a challenge because there are alternating moments where Andre's perception is different. Uh, and the audience really gets in this play to see so much of the play from Andre's perspective. I think that's what's so interesting about it is that what you're seeing is really what's in Andre's head often, not always in the play, but often it's what's in Andre's head. And that kind of gives the audience the same experience of confusion of what is reality.
One of the things that, when I'd say waking dreams, there's this theory, that in dreams we can see a deeper reality in some ways. And I experienced just an interesting thing that Tom shared with you about my dad. So towards the end, he was watching a lot of cartoons, and he had 4 children. I'm the first born, and he was watching a cartoon that had 4 characters, like animal characters that spoke or something, but there were 4 characters. And he was laughing and pointing to the characters and naming each one after each of his children. And I looked at it and I thought, okay, let me see if I can see why he's identifying such and such a character with me and such a character with David and Paul and Nancy. And lo and behold, those cartoon characters had certain personality traits that were like the four of each of the 4 of us. So it was a stretch, but it was like, I get it, Dad. I get it why that one's, me and that one's my brother. I get why he was naming those characters after us. And also, you know, this idea of understanding your own reality as a way of maybe controlling your reality too. So there was an outward expression of what he thought about his kids in that cartoon. But I want to go back to this. Now, you say you followed the text of the play very carefully, and that's how you prepare. But do you know anybody that suffered from Alzheimer's? Did you study the physicality of such a person?
Yeah, I have known one person in particular who actually had vascular dementia, which is, each form of dementia is kind of its own reality. And in fact, each person's experience within each kind of dementia is unique. Uh, but yes, I did look at both the physicality and just the facial expressions and the concern and the frustration.
And I have to say, I'm thrilled to find out the association that has grown with this play between the California Central Coast Alzheimer's Association and the producing unit, which is wonderful because Sunday, if you go see the play on Sunday the 15th, Sunday the 15th of September, there's going to be a panel discussion after the show. So those of us who have been touched by this disease can actually talk to the performers as well as the Alzheimer's Association representatives that will be at the show. And I gotta say, Bill, the Central Coast Alzheimer's Association was so helpful when I was going through my thing with my dad because they had resources for many, many things that we were lost. And I'm so glad you're offering this panel discussion because I don't think people know where to turn. Go ahead, Bill. You were about to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say, I actually spoke with the woman who's going to be conducting the panel. Her name is Jordana Lawrence. And we talked about the fact that locally here in Santa Barbara, Alzheimer's is the 3rd leading cause of death among the elderly. So very important to let people know that the support is there. And huge outreach from them. And you're right, there's a lot of confusion, not only in the the patient, so to speak, who is afflicted by the disease, but a lot of confusion with the caregivers on how what are they supposed to do? How do they do it? They don't understand what is happening. And the Alzheimer's Association can definitely help that. And this play very much deals with not only what Andre is going through, but also what the daughter is going through. And how does she care for dad as he's going through this? What's the best thing for him? Where does he live? And then dealing with sides of his personality that come out that frankly are multifaceted and not something that she normally has had to deal with. And there's a significant other affiliated with that, and also the play also delves into the other caregivers who are helping with him. So a lot of people affected by this disease. Alzheimer's Association obviously is their support, and we're really happy to be partnered with them. And hopefully it'll bring more people out, not only from the education standpoint, but also for people to see the show and to be able to not only recognize and relate to it, but also a sense of relief that, we're seeing what we went through. And there is a sense of comfort in that, I think.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. And the idea was when we first started to work with them that we were embarrassed to talk to them. And then they were actually so kind and generous, and we were like, okay, we got your back. So this is such a thrill that you're bringing that panel discussion. Richard's doing that sign. We got to go to quick break. And when we get back, I want to talk a little bit. If here's the question, Tom, has it affected your idea of reality? To be the lead in this play, do you see things differently? I wanted to ask Tom that when we get back from the break. Don't turn that down. Back in a minute.
All right, you are clear, and you are going to have 3 minutes. 3 minutes when this is when we get back.
3 minutes.
So,
3 minutes of a wait, or we'll have 3 minutes left.
No, 3 minutes left to the top of the hour.
Okay, I'll leave that for
So
Tom.
I want to ask Tom that question, and then we'll just shout out where to find tickets.
Please.
Yeah,
that's rather important on this. Thank you.
Very important. Tom, so my dad was a dentist, and he did a lot of intermouth surgeries. He was known for it. He's pretty important in that world, and he had very beautiful long fingers, and very inherited from his mom. And so there was a point at which he would lie in bed and he'd do this. He'd watch his hands, and we'd think, what is he doing? But of course, that was his life, his hands. And that was kind of cool, because it's like he just was watching his hands. And we knew what he was talking or not talking about, because he wasn't talking, but we knew why. But it was a really interesting physicality. Somebody that was, for what, how 50 years practicing, he would do that. Really, it's kind of powerful, that reality. I want to know what if your role has changed your ideas of reality, just very quickly. And then, Bill, I want you to jump in and tell people how to get tickets when we get back from the break.
Okay, great.
So I think they're producing, you've had your 20th anniversary, haven't you, Bill?
No, not quite yet. We're about 13 years in.
Okay.
But we'll be there at 20.
Definitely. And just tell me, Matt, I call him Matty, because I'm a huge supporter of Box Tales from the get-go, but I'm sure he's excellent in his role.
Yeah, Matt really brings a wealth of not only just experience, but the energy he brings. He always lifts everyone else's performances because he's constantly there on stage, present, and fun to work with.
Yeah,
he's one of those people. Say again, Tom?
He's a great actor to work with. I've worked with him a couple of times before.
Hey, Elizabeth, did you ever get that Yeti Orb microphone?
No, I will though. I just got back into town, what, a day and a half ago. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's right. You were overseas.
yeah. I was visiting my brother in southern Spain.
Okay,
Terrible,
here we
terrible job.
go. In three, two, one, you're live.
Welcome back. And before the break, I asked Tom, who is the central character. Tom Henshaw is this character, if it's which deals, who deals so much with the nature of reality, if his reality has slightly changed. Tom, what do you say?
It's had an effect. There's a moment in the play where Andre uh, talks about what he did for a living, and there's a difference between what Andre says and his daughter says. And sometimes I think about that. I think of some of the paths that I might have taken and how those kind of live in my brain as possible paths in my life. And could those reemerge as the reality that I live? Could I have? I was a lawyer for most of my life, in my working life, and could I have been an actor? Could I have been a race car driver? I mean, who knows? I mean, things that I've often, thought about or toyed with doing on the side. Could those become reality when the chemistry of your brain changes?
Oh, interesting. And Bill, tell us how we get tickets. And there's only 5 shows, so got to jump on this. Oh no, 7 performances. So Bill, go
There's
ahead.
actually seven. Yeah. Yep. So September 13th through the 21st. So the 13th, 14th, 19th, 20th, and 21st at 7:30, and then matinees on Saturday and Sunday this weekend at 2 o'clock. Tickets can be achieved through centerstagetheater.org. Call the box office at 805-963-0408.
And you know where the
You can
Central
also
Stage
go to our website at the producing unit. Yeah, Center Stage Theater is at the top floor of the Paseo Nuevo Mall. It's the only black box theater, been around for a long, long time. If you want to know a little more about the play and about our company, you can also go to theproducingunit.org and get a good understanding of the show, and that will link directly to Center Stage. You can get tickets online. That's probably the best place to do that. You can also get them at the box office 1 hour before each showtime.
And I just remembered. So Matt Tavanini, I saw him as Caesar and Julius Caesar with Lit Moon. And I think I also saw him. I think I saw. Did I see something of? I think I saw King Lear. I don't. But anyway, I saw him do 2 performances with Lit Moon. I can't wait to see the play. Thank you. The play is at Center Stage Theater, done by the producing unit, directed by Bill Egan, starring Tom Hinshaw, and it is The Father by Florian Zeller, not to be missed. Thank you both.
Okay.
Right.
All right, you are clear.
Okay,
And
Elizabeth.
Bill, I'll send this to Mo, who will send it to you, the show itself. And so,
Okay,
like
terrific.
always,
Appreciate that.
yeah, no, like always, you can use the show, use our talk together to promote the show in any way you see fit. So, it's yours to do with what you want. And
Great. And just
how
get
cool,
with
how
Mo and
cool.
let us know when you would like to come, and we'll put a
Oh,
couple of
thank you. Thank
aside.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks very much. And Tom, thank you for being with us. Thank you, Bill. Thank you. And Bill, reach out anytime. I'm anxious to cover what you
Thank you.
do
Well,
at any.
we are doing another show in January. It's going to be Shakespeare's Villains, which is a piece that Peter has created based on the heavies in all of Shakespeare's works and putting that together. So we'll be talking to you soon about that, and we can get on in the future.
How cool is that? How cool is that? All right. Thank you both. Thanks for being with me.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, and I appreciate your thoughts and your ideas. It was an interesting conversation.
Well, the idea of waking dreams, it's something that Carl Jung talked about when he started off as a young doctor in the schizophrenia ward that, in 19 oh something, nobody really knew what it was, but he said that that was the closest to reality he ever got. And then he wanted to know what how the mind processes reality, and therefore went into this long thing. But Waking Dreams was his nomiker, I guess you could say. Stole it from him. All right, bye guys. Thank
All
you.
right,
Thank
thanks.
you. Take care. Bye-bye.